and I like what you was talking about, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but when you mentioned the Colorado fans saying that the Big 12 is just a walkthrough and it's not as strong as that, let's dive into that a little bit. What did you mean by that? The Big 12 being, them overlooking it, and the Big 12 being not being as weak as they think it is. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Wait a minute. Are you asking me to be a cult member right now?
No, 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 no.
I, no, I need you to rephrase the question because I
Okay.
thought the way you were asking me, you wanted me to be a cult member and tell
So
you why I feel like the
maybe
Big
come
12
at
is
it
a
like that.
step down.
Why do you think it's a step down? Why do
I
you
don't
think
think
that big?
that. But you want me
Okay.
to be a cult member? You want to be a
No, I
cult member?
don't want you to be a cult member. I want you to
Well, I can't.
explain to the cult
I can't.
members why this
Well,
is not a step down.
oh, why it's not a step? Okay,
Right.
okay. Well, it's not a step down because again, I don't. No one. You can't say a power conference is a step down when
Mm-hmm.
you just left a conference that is no longer a conference anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the real step down conference?
Mm-hmm.
Many people have said it for a period of time that there's no real football played west of I-35. And for
Mm-hmm.
those who are not geographically inclined, I-35 runs through the heart of Texas. Anything west, and well, actually, it runs through the heart. It splits off. You got I-35W, which is west, I-35E, which is east. I-35W will take you through Fort Worth. I-35E will take you through Dallas. So anything collegiate football wise that is played west of Fort Worth, Texas, it's not football.
Mm.
The weather's great, but it's not the from a overall
Yeah.
perspective. The talent of athlete, when you look at the states
Mm-hmm.
that have per capita the most collegiate football players, California. Okay, California is having to take up for the entire West Coast, but you're talking about Texas, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, Florida,
Right.
and we'll even throw Ohio up in there. So there's 5 states to one. No one is literally no one's gonna argue that we're talking about there are 5 states that essentially are wet east of I-35 that are
Mm-hmm.
producing the most collegiate football players.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that individuals said about Deion Sanders going to Colorado was that you're going to have to, there's nothing in Colorado. Like you can literally look at some of these particular states. We're talking Utah, we're talking Wyoming, we're
Yeah.
talking Washington, Oregon, like Arizona. Like these are not states that are known for being football juggernauts. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, you're talking about California. So for one, there's not the same caliber of athlete that is out west of I-35 that it is east of I-35. So that's for one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For two, from a just a historical standpoint, the Big 12 has had the luxury, and some people may feel like I'm using this word, to wax poetically about it, but they have been home to two of the most historic programs in all of college football history.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners.
That's what we talking about.
Oklahoma hasn't gone anywhere. Let's put this in perspective. There's not been a national title won east west of I-35 since USC won it.
Dang. You right. You right.
Texas has a natty. Oklahoma has a natty, and we're talking about from the year 2000 forward. So that's
Mm-hmm.
two natties. So national championships have not. So that's another thing, right? And for the rest of the Texas teams that get as they say, the leftovers that Oklahoma and Texas don't want,
Mm-hmm.
pretty damn good leftovers. Patrick Mahomes would be considered a leftover.
Ooh.
Tyreek
Ooh.
Hill went to Oklahoma State,
Ooh.
leftover.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Ali
Yeah.
Gordon, leftover.
Mm.
You want Bijan coming out.
Mm.
You're not some of those iconic running back, like you're an iconic running back, for Oklahoma State. But like you're not gonna be like no one like when we talk about iconic running backs from like Oklahoma and
Yeah.
Texas, they're not gonna put Ali Gordon ahead of any of those particular guys. Like so get left over.
Right.
So you're not stepping into a inferior conference. And I remember when this conversation was had on Coach Hayes show, and there was an individual that literally that took 1 year and used 1 year as a talking point to say that one conference was better simply because and he didn't even have it. He didn't even. I don't know how he had that to stand on. I guess it was because. Well, yes, he did. He had this to stand on because, like, oh, well, Washington beat Texas. But it's like the Big 12 has historically been better than the Pac 12. Like the Pac 12 has one of the worst, and I remember doing this probably about 5 or 6 years ago. Like the Big 12 has like one of the worst like bowl records. Probably the matter of fact, it was the worst bowl record. So it's like y'all are not going to a lesser conference. Like no one was talking about. There was only two teams out west that they talked about. That was USC and Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Like what are we talking about? Y'all not going to a lesser conference.
Let's talk about it.
Y'all not going to a lesser conference.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about
Like,
that.
like think
So
about this.
let's
Think
talk
about
about
this.
some of these. Let's talk about some of these quarterbacks in the Big 12, right?
They had nowhere else to go. The conference folded. Logistically, y'all had to go to the Big 12. Logistically.
Legit. Right. So that answers the question for some of the Colorado fans who may be thinking that there's going down
Well, hold
to
up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Let's stop there right now. Let's
wow.
stop calling these people Colorado fans. They're not fans of Colorado. They're
Okay.
fans of Deion Sanders. If
Okay.
Deion Sanders could leave tomorrow,
Correction.
there will be no there will be no there will be no more Colorado coverage.
So that answers the question for you, Deion Sanders fan that think that going down to the Big 12 is a step down in competition. Now let's talk about some of these quarterbacks across the Big 12. Now, when you think about some of the quarterbacks in the Big 12, what's your top five? Because my top five, I'll get my top five exactly was K, Rocco Beck, uh, what's his name? Noah Favita, Shadur Sanders. I don't think I had Cam Rising in my top five only because of his leg injury. But I can't get the who else? Dang it. Garrett Green from West Virginia. And oh yeah, I didn't have the Quan Finn in there neither
And you love
because
Daquan.
huh?
You love Daquan.
But I'll say Daquan Finn. I'll put him in my top five. I do love Daquan Finn because I think because people sleep on my guy Daquan Finn over at Baylor. Like you, and look, like I believe that skill position players from a G5 is easy. It's easier for a skill position guy to make the transition than it is a offense or defensive lineman over to the Power Five. So him being a 2-year back-to-back all MAC player, and for the past 3 seasons, he rushed for over 500 yards. That's huge. Like you can't sleep on that. The dude know how to get it done. Like, and you cannot sleep on that. And he's going over to a good coach in Dave Aranda. Now, granted, he ain't had the best record last year. He ain't in the year before, but it's about time them guys to win. It's they're going to have a winning record. I'm not saying that they're going to blow you know what I'm saying, they're going to go win 9 games this year, but they're going to ruin some people's season, they're going to mess up some people's schedules, and they're going to upset a couple of teams. And that's what Baylor's going to do this year. And it's going to be largely because of what Daquan Finn brings over there at quarterback, and because of some of the 6th and 7th year guys they got playing on that team. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't take that into account when you talking about them. And I think that, and I'm so huge on that. Like I'll talk about that all day. Like I even tried to did my little mini breakdown of like them playing against Texas. Like they played Texas fair, bro. Like in the first half, like the first half of that game, Texas started pulling away late in that game. Like, but if you look at that game, Texas had to open, spread the field, and use their speed against Baylor last year because Baylor was giving them a run. Like, if they didn't go put out 4 receivers, 5 receiver, empty backfield on Baylor, they possibly could have took a L, bro. Like, they had to really spread Baylor wide open to get to move the ball on Baylor. That's what they had to do. But they were able to rush them with like they're down 3 and 4 defensive linemen, but they were able to do that to a lot of people. Is why Texas wound up being in the college football playoff because their lineman was crazy last year. Like they didn't have to blitz you and send that extra guy. And when they did send that extra guy, he was definitely getting home because they were getting pressure with just their linemen, their defensive linemen and their edges last year. So that really didn't matter. But so when we talking about quarterbacks in the Big 12 to you, and I'm talking quarterbacks, not running backs right now, just quarterbacks. We'll do the running backs next. Who do you think stands out in the Big 12 as quarterbacks? Give me your top 3.
I'll be the first to admit I'm not as well versed with the Big 12 quarterbacks,
Okay.
but but I feel like that. I mean, I think Shadur sounds the best quarterback in the Big 12
What? No, 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 no. Why? Why?
because, well, we gotta think about this for a second, right?
I mean, but look,
Shadur Sanders is like an anomaly.
but he lost to Noah Favita. Like how could you be the best in the Big 12 when you already lost to a quarterback that's in the same
It's a
conference as
team.
you?
It's a team game.
It is a team game. He can't do nothing about the defense, but I mean, no,
And,
him and Noah Favita are like neck and neck for real. Like they like right there, like you know what I mean, like a finger, like they right there. Statistically, they're right there.
but
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 Shador is a great quarterback. Don't
but
get me
this is
wrong, but
but this is what I have to say about Shadur. Right? Obviously, Shadur. Usually, when you have a quarterback that
mhm,
plays at a lower level, usually they not supposed to perform like he performed
mhm.
stepping up in competition,
Yeah,
right? Um, like I say, Shadur is an anomaly. Like I have to. It's not just his play. I'm also giving him the anomaly factor because usually when you have all time great parents,
mhm,
like the children, they're not supposed to do this. Like
right,
Shadur is not supposed to be this good. Like Shadur was like Shiloh, he's solid. We know Junior did what he did, but like Shadur should not be where he is. Like Shadur should not be in contention to be talked about as one of the best quarterbacks in college football,
you're
simply
right.
because of
How
how
great
great
his
his
dad is
father is
there.
was. Like
Mhm,
so you have to give him that. Like Noah Favita, him and McMillan or McMillan.
mhm,
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice combo. They got a new head coach. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be something interesting that he's going to have to see as well, because obviously he was a true freshman last year, stepped in because of the starter got hurt. They, had a magical run, won 10 games and things like that. But seeing how he plays in another offense, that's like when I see first year guys play, I temper my expectations because I'm like, okay, let me see you do it again, right?
right.
Because a guy can trick you. Like a guy
Yep.
can go out there and have a good couple of games. Like obviously, me being a Miami Hurricane, I can attest to this. Like a guy can look really really good 1 year, and
Mhm,
then teams get film on him. Teams do this, do that. Now it's not like you come as a surprise to them, right?
mhm,
Now people know who you are. And the same thing could be said for Shadur as well, because again, now they got
right.
film on you to see what you do. But just his anticipation of throwing the football, he's
Yeah,
not
that's
one of
great.
those guys where it's like, I'm just gonna fit this in here because I feel like I'm confident in my arm. It's like, no, like I throw with anticipation. I work. People may not like some of the antics that I do, but that's another thing. Usually, guys that do those type of antics and things like that, they a lot of them are not have the capability of backing it up. So I think Shadur, you know, you put Shadur on one of these contenders this particular year, and you're talking about like Shadur
Yeah.
at Ohio State this year, or Shadur at Oregon, or even
Mm-hmm.
Shadur down there at Miami, or Shadur at
Yeah.
LSU, like any of these at Alabama, any of these schools,
They winning.
like we're talking about, like it's no question who will be QB1,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
because of
Yeah.
this, because of the intangibles that he has, like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So
As far as a college quarterback, that's a fair assessment on that. But so you got like just the quarterbacks in the Big 12. So you got like Brennan Morton Jr. over there at Texas Tech. Um, and then you got like Josh Hoover for TCU, Alan Bowman over there at Oklahoma, Gary Bonahan. I think he played at like USF with Xavier Weaver and Jimmy Horn Jr. at one point in time when they were over there. I think Jimmy Horn might have been a freshman. Got Brendan Sorsby from Indiana playing for Cincinnati now. Sam Levitt playing for Arizona State. Cam Rising for Utah. Garrett Green for West Virginia. Jalen Daniels for Kansas. Avery Johnson over there at
the state,
Kansas State.
yeah.
Noah Favita, Arizona, and Donovan Smith over at Houston, and of course Daquan Finnan over there at Baylor. But when it comes, okay, so you don't really know those guys, right? The quarterbacks, but
And
so
KJ Jefferson at UCF,
oh, who again? Oh
KJ.
yeah, oh yeah, KJ Jefferson at UCF. They also got
Yeah,
don't they?
I know about
Uh,
Avery Johnson and Jalen Daniels. I know about those two guys.
Okay. So so Jalen Daniels, and he just got to stay healthy to me. I think he just if he stays healthy, I think that he can have a good year. Jalen Daniels, as far as it goes with him, he got to stay healthy, upright, and if he stays healthy, I think that he will produce, and Kansas will be a contender if he stays healthy with the help of Devin Neal in the backfield. I think that'll be a good combination for him, and I think they got some decent receivers over there, Jakari Brown and KJ Jefferson at UCF. I remember at one point in time you said that UCF was an overrated team, right?
Yeah.
Um, and bro, to be honest, they're the only team in the Big 12 that have a QB1 and a QB2. The only team, bro. It's all good. South Coast Kane in the building, Birdstone, Lighty in the building. What's up with y'all? They're the only team that got a QB1 and a QB2 to me. To me, as far as I know, as far as I research, that can back up. So because Jakari Brown, obviously, I think he should have got a fair shake last year. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? I'm a college football newborn, still infant still when it comes to this. Like I'm still in my infant stages. Um, I think he should have been starting a little bit last year when TVD was going through his mess up or whatever. Let's throw Jakari in there and see what we got out of Jakari. Let him finish up the season and then see what we have moving forward next year, right? Especially when we knew like y'all were out of contention for the playoffs or whatever, right? But that's neither here or there. That's last year. But Jakari Brown is at UCF right behind KJ Jefferson, or however that's playing out. They're battling for QB1. KJ Jefferson coming over from Arkansas, being one of the college football's most experienced quarterbacks coming into the season. Like they got a decent, that's good to have Jakari Brown and KJ Jefferson. No other team in the Big 12, if their QB1 goes down, who else? They don't have nobody else.
Yeah.
They don't have nobody else.
But
Like,
again, we talked about this though. Like when we talked about the top running backs, right?
yeah,
I mean, the Big 12 and SEC have switched places. which I would have never thought this would have happened. Where it's like the 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 SEC is now is the team that's slinging it all around the yard, and the Big 12 is, they try to play a little defense. They getting a little physical, like like it's running back heaven over there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that you know that's one thing about that's one thing I can look at the Big 12 right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they and we like I said we talked about this like on paper they have the best running backs in college football this year, and I think that's going to like it's gonna be physical over there. Like Colorado
Yeah.
may be the only quote unquote finesse team. Them and maybe Texas Tech. Like they may be like the two finesse teams over there. I think everybody else is gonna time of possession type
Yeah.
of type of style of ball. You know what I
Control
mean?
the clock on them, run the ball well balanced teams.
Yeah.
Like because we have talked about that, but I was just going back to UCF because like and now I think that's important to have a good QB1 and a good QB2 because like man they don't have, but nobody else has anything. But I just wanted to point that out to people who really don't know that like nobody else has a backup. Um, do you think Penny Boone is going to produce over there in the Big 12?
You know what? You brought that up. I hate that you brought it up, but I have to stand corrected. Right? I said UCF was overrated, and I went and did some homework. Right?
Right.
Getting ready for college football fantasy draft, so I got to do a little homework. Right?
Yeah.
UCF has a lot of offensive talent over there. Like
Yes, they do.
so, the thing that's gonna get me right, I understand KJ Jefferson, I understand Jakari going over there. Maybe the
Hmm.
selling point was, hey, look, Cam Newton, like I helped Cam Newton. I guess that's still a selling point in 2024.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, because a lot of teams are made up in a situation like let's take Michigan for instance, right?
Yeah.
Not to get off the subject, but just talking about just having two quarterbacks. Their number one and number two quarterbacks had two distinctively different skill sets, right? JJ McCarthy could not do the things Alex Orji could do, and Alex Orji would not
I
do a
do
lot of the
this.
things that JJ McCarthy could do.
Right.
Whereas when you look at UCF, like there's no like if God forbid a shoelace happens to get broken, right?
Hmm.
Gus Malzahn does not have to go and try to cultivate or pull an offense up out of nowhere. Like I think that's what he did when he had. I can't forget. I can't remember what his name was, but he got away from what made him somewhat revered in college ranks, right? Like Bo Nix does not fit the profile of a quarterback that he gets, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, 5-star guy, so yeah, you got to get him. And like I say, the other guy that Jarrett Stidham, like those are not quarterbacks that fit what Gus Malzahn actually does, right?
Yeah.
So now he has guys that do what he wants to do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I do think I think from an offensive standpoint, they could be one of the more explosive offenses. They went and got another 1,000-yard rusher out of
Hmm.
the portal, coming from a lower level. But again, like you just said earlier, we're talking about skill position,
Hmm.
players. So I mean, they should be able to go in and produce right away.
Right.
So they got, like I said, they got a lot of offensive firepower over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. They
So
do, and they got depth too. So that's what I was saying. Like just how you said with KJ Jefferson. That's why I kind of brought that up. Like, hold on, I gotta look out for my dog real quick because I remember my dog say UCF was a little overrated. I was like.